Good morning, off-grid fans. You may notice I'm not in the mountains. I am doing some stuff on the van. Now, these brakes on these big 7.5 tonners are a little bit different than your ordinary one. Basically, the entire brake disc bolts to the back of the hub, and you have to take off basically the wheel bearing to replace the discs. I've got new discs, new pads, and even recon calipers. Now, for these Varios, T2 814s, the same brake, so this is valid for both. I did find videos on doing the wheel bearings, I did find videos on doing the calipers, but not a video on doing all of the brakes, discs, everything together. So I thought I'd film it for the channel, being that I'm doing it anyway. So here we go. I have obviously taken the wheel off and I have cracked all of these nuts here. I've also cracked this nut, and I don't know what size it is, but I had to use these big plumber's things to grip this, and you don't need to grip it hard. It is just a muck and oil cover, but it comes off, and then what you have here is a Allen key pinch bolt that you can undo to then be able to turn this to take the whole lot off. I didn't do it at the time because I wanted to keep the bearings clean until I had the new discs. So this is where I left it, and let's crack on. So it's a 6mm Allen key. So it's a little Allen key pinch rather than a castle nut or anything. Look at that. The phone went and then I forgot to do it. But basically I just started pulling it off. Got a washer with a locator and a standard roller bearing. So we are starting to split it here. This is what I'm resting. This is part of the hub here. The disc just goes over. So it is coming off. There we go, the old one off. It's nicely clean. So 17mm, and my rule is it's either copper grease or Loctite. It's one or the other. So not Loctite in these, and it's copper grease, so they will actually come undone at some point. These bearings in the plastic from the brake to keep them clean. I'll say 4 bolts, so we'll just copper grease these other 3 and get them in. So I have now put both pads in. And then some of the pads come with new ones of these, some you have to reuse, but basically they just push down. And again, copper grease, because I'm a copper grease fiend. Once you've been taking stuff apart, you really appreciate the copper grease. I think that's upside down. See, I'm trying to show you, but it's an easy mistake to make. There you see, that way, so it pushes down, stops. This is anti-rattle and anti-pad falling out. And there. And shout out to Birmingham brake specialists who did the refurb on these calipers. I'd seen that they've done several, and when I went there the place was just full of massive truck brakes. These were actually quite small, so they certainly know what they're doing. I went to a local place first and they were like, oh, commercial stuff, no. So it was good to get someone who was like, oh yeah, these are little. Now, pads, you can get pads that have a sensor for when they're going low, in which case you use this bit, but I don't have pads with that sensor, so, and I didn't last time, so the ends are just tied together so it doesn't give a warning light. And then these copper lines that go through here to there, when I watched other videos, people were replacing these every single time, and reckon they should be 17 centimeters. $17 would seem about right. So I need to go and get some of these made up, because I've broken the one on each side. So we will get that. Well, I wanted to put them on and just double check the measurement. But there, get that connected, zip tie that up there to here, and then we'll be ready to bleed up these new brakes. So I didn't film the brake bleed because I had people here helping me, but let's just go through a few things. So these copper pipes, obviously they're long enough. I cut the copper to 18 centimeters and then we put the ends on, because I'd measured at 17 centimeters and there was another guide on the internet that says these should be 17 centimeters. If I was doing it again, I would cut the copper a little bit longer, just to give me a bit more room. They're fine like that, but if I was doing it again, a little bit more than 17 centimeters. I think actually I did 18. Guide on the web said 17. I'd do, well, I wouldn't do over 20, but I'd do somewhere between 19 and 20. And then, because this is where the front brakes bleed from, there is a separator in here, so when all the fronts drained there was a little bit left in the back, so the backs didn't get any air in them. So this side bled very easy, straight down, gravity bled all the way. This side here, I just unclipped it from this clip here, so I could pull it down a little bit, because as you can see it's just higher than here. So I pushed it flat. It wasn't bleeding. I put a plastic bag on the top of here, put a hairband around there, and then applied some pressure here, like a homemade pressure bleeder, and that started the bleed over, bled out on this side. And then I had my dad round on the pedal, but honestly the gravity bleed, even though we did bleed it afterwards, no more air came out, and I think it would have been fine with the gravity bleed. So the next things, so when I took these off, and actually when I watched the video of a guy who'd done the same, brake bolts snapped, and then you had to pull them out. So I have bought these they are M12 fine pitch, 1.5mm pitch, 45mm hex headed flange. So I've got new bolts. I only needed 2, but I bought a full set because the heads are a different size. So I'm going to replace all of the bolts that hold the caliper to the hub. And then we've looked up the torque specs. These, for the brake rotor to hub, are only 10 Newton meters, 7 foot-pound. Doesn't seem a great deal, but that's what they are. The caliper brackets, they are 125 foot-pounds, 170 Newton meters. So we'll torque these to 170 Newton meters. Actually, no, the caliper to this, the caliper to this carrier, they are 170 Newton meters, but the main caliper bolts are 115, 125 or 115. To be honest, I don't think my uncalibrated torque wrench can tell the difference between 125 and 115 foot-pound. So we'll just do that. And then just while we're talking about torque specs, the actual wheel nuts, they are 150 to 175 Newton meters. So basically everything is 150 to 170 Newton meters in here and on the caliper. It's just these that have a very low torque of only 7 foot-pound.